On a cold December night in 1994, Trumbull County, Ohio, became the epicenter of a UFO mystery. Calls flooded 911 as residents reported a strange, hovering light. Skeptical police officers set out, only to be confronted by a mysterious craft emitting intense, colorful lights. With no explanation in sight and radar screens clear, the night left a mark on those who witnessed it, challenging the very reality they knew. What was this mysterious object? Stay tuned as Bert and Nick delve into the Trumbull County UFO incident now on Deceptive Reality.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Deceptive Reality Podcast. My name is Nick, who is anxiously waiting for a story. And with me as always is the urbane Bert.
Urbane? Wow!
Yes.
That sounds very fancy, Nick. Urbane.
Well, that's half of its meaning, fancy and polite.
Woo, look at that.
Yeah, so you guessed it pretty much.
Some would not say so much on the polite side, Nick. Some would not necessarily agree with that.
Well, you know, people have the right to be wrong.
How's everyone doing? Hey, welcome to another week. This episode's coming out. I wrote on my clapperboard.
2028.
I know. This one's coming out April the 12th. So happy April the 12th, everybody.
Wow, we're really getting into the future.
Unless we change like our episodes around. But for right now, y'all are coming out on April 12th.
Not to talk about this. Like we really ought not to talk about when these are coming out.
Because we never know. The reason that I like to do it though.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I like to do it is because for some reason we've had some stuff here lately. Other people's been doing content at the same time, but because ours is on a delay, I don't want anyone to ever be like, yo, just stole this from them. No, I didn't. I did it a month before them, bonehead. Because we're recording this, it's March 4th. It's almost like a month later this is going to come out. We're a month ahead, Nick.
But how could we prove we didn't just record this opening and say all this stuff?
Because Riverside freaking records the date.
Okay. I guess we got an airtight case then.
We got him. Got him, Nick.
Look, I'm playing the skeptic even in our intro.
Hey, listen, sometimes we got it. This one, listen, this is my week for anyone that doesn't know. This is my week. This one, open and shut case.
Oh.
Literally open and shut. You can't tell me otherwise.
Wait, is it alien related?
Why would you ask that for, Nick?
Because you got your alien shirt on.
What you can't see, and what other people probably can, is...
Oh, I didn't see that.
Because you can't.
I didn't see that.
But other people can, Nick.
Yeah, but I feel the shirt was a giveaway too, so we'll see.
Well, listen, we're gonna talk about a lot of this because I was looking through our channel this weekend when I was building this entire story, and I said, I feel like we do aliens a lot. Like a lot. I feel like
we love to be scared of aliens, or I do anyway.
But here's the thing: we really don't do, compared to everything else, a lot of alien episodes.
Yeah, we started off heavy aliens, I think.
We did.
Yeah, we had the Shag Harbor incident.
We did have Shag Harbor. That's actually, I've got them all listed. We're going to talk about this, Nick.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right.
But this is my week. Now, anyone that can obviously see the title, you see the thumbnail. I've created the thumbnail. I did not send it to Nick because obviously I didn't want him to know what it is right away. But I think this is going to be a fun intro to get everything kind of explaining what this story is about. I think this is an open and closed case.
So we're definitely solving this if it's not been solved already.
It's not been solved, but I guarantee you're going to side with me at the end of this one. There's no way around it.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. This is confidence. I like this.
A lot of confidence.
This has got to be something.
And the best part is this is from my home state.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I talked to everyone today about it, no one knew this. No one knows this story.
Is it possible that their memories have been erased?
It's possible. And listen, this is technically a newer case. I was going to wait on this one for the 30-year anniversary, which comes up in December.
Oh, yeah, that's a high traffic time of year for us, though.
That's a little high traffic for us. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it in March, baby, which is technically going to be April for you guys, but you know what I mean.
Do you want to hear April?
That's right, doggone. Christmas in July is when those little cookies come out, the little Christmas tree cookies come out a second time. Not that I can have them. I'm back on my keto diet, Nick. I'm trying to be good again.
You're punishing yourself again.
I really am. Do you want to hear the story and the narration that's going to create basically it's going to usually, for anyone that doesn't typically know how we do our podcast, typically I start the first segment. I'm pretty sure Nick does for the most part also. They start the first segment just breaking down the basics of the story. I created my first segment tonight to actually start the story.
And it comes with an interpretive dance.
It does. From my
Not from me.
Green alien
from
buddy.
Bert.
Green alien buddy in the back, Nick.
Oh,
are you ready?
Before we get into this, wait, one thing. Have you seen Trailer Park Alien?
Wait, is that what you sent me that day?
I think so.
I think
where they're trying to help it in the trailer park. Yeah, everyone's gonna watch that. That's beautiful.
That's so
But anyway,
good.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm excited for this next part.
Well, there's an Easter egg in this segment.
Oh.
The audio of the segment. I want people to listen. Well, I'm not going to say because y'all aren't going to pay attention to the story. But there's an Easter egg in there. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
People about various things, and look who I brought with me. Come on.
It's December 14th, 1994 at around 11 o'clock at night in Trumbull County, Ohio. A typical evening, the living room bathed in the glow of the TV.
John, you need to see this. Something's outside.
What is it? I'm watching David Letterman. He's got Richard Simmons on there.
No, seriously, come here. It's unbelievable.
I swear, this woman. What on earth?
As John gazes out, disbelief takes over.
What in the world?
The ordinary night sky now hosts a luminous, mysterious object. Compelled by what he's seen, John reaches out for answers.
County Dispatch, may I help you?
Tonight, we peel back the layers of a night that turned Trumbull County, Ohio, into the epicenter of a mystery that still captivates and mystifies. This night, a luminous object shatters the silence, drawing the gaze of residents and law enforcement into the heavens. This story isn't just about a mysterious sighting, it's a journey through the reactions, the investigations, and the lasting impact on those who witnessed it.
Oh, I am excited. The voices. I'll tell you. Woo! That's top-notch stuff right there. I like that.
So let me tell you this much.
Okay.
We are playing around with some different narrations, some different voice things for the podcast. The
Always
narration's
going
going to stay. Yes. Always upwards, onward and upwards. We want to create this great soundscaping. We want to create a great story. And this is literally a story. Now, for anyone that does not know, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into this Trumbull County, Ohio. We can say it's a UFO story.
Yeah. Is this Trumbull County? Trumbull County?
It is Trumbull County, Trumbull,
Trumbull
now,
County, got it.
It's also known in the area of Youngstown. You're going to hear that a lot.
Okay.
Youngstown for me is probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Oh, wow.
Now, when we look at UFO cases, we kind of started talking about this in the beginning. For anyone that doesn't know, when I look over here to the right, I'm not looking at some weird ghost or something. I've actually got my notes over here, so I apologize. So we've covered Shag Harbor, Hopkinsville, Cisco Grove, which was a 2-parter.
All right.
Technically Bob Lazar and Crop Circles. So we've covered 5 total stories that's just UFO or UFO related. Now,
When this comes out, there might be more. If you recall.
what I miss?
The 2-parter with the deep I don't want to give away too much in case people haven't heard it, but the deep forest abductions, the hypnosis, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Allagash County. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So we got a little more of them, just not out yet. Or it will be at this time.
And the way I figured is 38 total videos is what we've done as of the time this comes out. There'll be 38. So it's technically 7 for 38. It's a little bit higher percentage than I thought it was going to be. Now, what I found fascinating is because if you go and you look at unsolved mysteries and the way they categorize everything, I said, if I use their categorization on our stuff, there's some stuff that they didn't have that I had to add. The first one I put in here, and technically, it could technically fall into a second category. But we've got the devil, which was Robert Johnson.
Right.
Then I said folklore, which is the Mothman and the Black-Eyed Kids. Unsolved crimes, which was the Circleville letters. I clumped spirits, ghosts, and demons together, which was Infield Poltergeist, Roland Doe, Jeff the Mongoose, and the Blair Witch.
Okay.
The Blair Witch is a different is a different one.
The Bell Witch. Yes.
We've done cryptids, which was the New Jersey Devil, and the Bigfoot, which was the Albert Ostman.
Yep.
Missing people, which was the Dyatlov Pass. We've done reincarnation, Dorothy Eady.
Yeah.
Treasure, which is Oak Island. Legends, which would be the Shroud of Turin and the Tsunami Spirits.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories, which is the Mandela Effect and Hollow Moon. And I'm considering the sci-fi legends as the Montauk Projects, Madman Markham, and I forgot about yours. So yours would technically fall under UFO also.
Yeah. That's a pretty wide range we got there.
It's a pretty wide range when you think about it. I mean, that's a decent amount of different things, but UFOs is kind of, for us, and this is why I brought all this up. You know, we always seem to circle back to UFOs, and I think I know why we do it, or at least I know why I do it.
I know why I do it. So you go first.
Here's why I think I do it a lot. Of all the different things that we cover, folklore, unsolved crimes, ghost spirits, demons, all that stuff. This one is the one where I go, it's the most plausible to know that it's legit.
Right.
And I'm a ghost guy. Listen, I've got a podcast devoted to ghost stories,
All ghosts,
the hauntings, haunted locations, but I still think there's a better chance for me to prove a UFO scientifically than it is a ghost.
I would agree with that.
And I think that's why I enjoy it so much, because I'm like, this in my lifetime will be proven correct.
I think so. I think we'll at least get the edges of the story filled in a little bit better.
At least. Why is it you do UFOs more, Nick?
Well,
or you enjoy them more?
I 100% believe in them. I don't think it's more likely. I think they're a fact. And I'm freaking terrified of them. And I'm facing my fears. That's why.
You gotta face your fears.
That's
you know
right.
what drives
Bees
me
and
nuts about
UFOs.
all this, though?
What?
You know what drives me nuts, though? It really irritates me. Because as much as I believe them, and I think it's almost impossible not to believe them in some facet at this point.
Yeah.
Some of the big people say they do not exist. And do you know
I feel
what
like your
consider
head's
the big
in the
people?
sand if you say that.
But here's the thing. When I think of the big people, right? When I think of like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
This man has his entire career around space.
Right.
And he will tell you that it's a farce. No part of that is true.
He doesn't think there's life out there.
He really
Is that
doesn't.
what?
But here's another thing. He's never been to space.
Right.
He's never been to space.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got cases like Elon Musk, and he also says that he sees no verifiable proof. And this is a man that shoots rockets up there for a living. SpaceX.
Yeah. You know what? I throw baseballs up into the sky. Doesn't mean I know anything about space.
That's true. But we're talking about a man that he puts rockets up there. Like, have you ever heard his theories before, Nick?
Not really. I don't know a ton about him, really.
Well, he was on the Lex Friedman podcast. I don't know if you know who Lex is. Lex is like a uber genius is the best way I can put it. For anyone that doesn't know, episode 400, do not watch it on this. What I want to do is play you a little clip of what he said about aliens before we dip too far into aliens, just to tell you why it frustrates me so much. Is that fair?
It is. I can already tell I'm going to disagree. Anyone who says aliens aren't real, I disagree with on the spot.
I don't necessarily disagree. Check out what Elon says, though.
A lot of people have asked me if I've seen any evidence of aliens, and I haven't, which is kind of concerning, because then I think I'd probably prefer to at least have seen some archaeological evidence of aliens. To the best of my knowledge, there is no proof. I'm not aware of any evidence of aliens. If they're out there, they're very subtle. We might just be the only consciousness, at least in the galaxy.
So when you look at Elon and the way that he just kind of the best way I could put it is glance over or even glare over something like this, it hurts my soul. It hurts it.
I can take a little bit of comfort from what he said, because if I went to court with all there's different types of evidence. Like, I can't present in court evidence that they can definitively say, here's an alien. But theoretically, there must be, I think, is where I draw the line.
I would agree. I don't disagree. I understand it, but I think it's just because for me, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible. If someone told me there's no such thing as a UFO, I'd go, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy. Like, look around. It's in the government now. It's in the news now. Like, everyone's talking about UFOs. And it hurts my soul. It absolutely, like, it pains me so much that they say anything along that lines. In fact, the story that we have tonight, now, I think that our stories are always fun. And I enjoy our stories, especially when we talk about UFOs, right? Like I said, we have done Shag Harbor, which is amazing. You told the overall story. There was not really any kind of photographic evidence. There wasn't any kind of video evidence. There's not even audio of anything that's happening, right? Hopkinsville, same way. But again, these are older stories. Cisco Grove, which was an amazing first-person point of view that was wrote from a book, right? Then we got Bob Lazar, and the Bob Lazar and even the crop circles. We had the one video that kind of showed stuff, but we proved that was fake. The story that we have today is probably what I call, if not the best documented proof of a UFO. It is potentially in the top 5 of all time, and it came out of the great state of Ohio.
Oh, that's pretty exciting, actually.
Well, everything we're going to hear tonight is going to be audio files. Now, I'm going to explain to you why. In our intro, you heard of a man named John who calls up the police department and tells about this UFO. You hear him getting on the phone with dispatch. What if I told you I have the entire police records of all the phone calls incoming and outgoing for the entire night, and then the police go out to look for this UFO?
I would be pretty excited about that. Like, I would be pumped.
Now, I'm going to tell you, you're going to hear police go from laughing about this to then arguing with each other about this to, by the end of it, no one understands what's going on. You're going to hear them
that's
talking.
a logical progression.
It really is. You're going to hear them talking to air traffic control, trying to figure this out. You're going to hear everything in audio files. Now, I shortened it way down. I had to for the podcast. But
Is this
got
actual recordings or recreations?
Yes. Now, nope. These are recordings. These are the live recordings.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
This came out in 1994, and they're using police radios. I try to clean up the audio as much as I can. Some of these audio files are not great. So for anyone listening, you might have to adjust your volume. I'm going to try to peak it to where it doesn't hurt your guys' ears, but some of this is hard to understand, especially if they were really close to their mic, because some police officers get real close. You're going to hear cops freak out in some of this audio too. And I had to bleep out some cuss words occasionally. So if you want to hear the unedited, I will put a file in our thing, in our video. Maybe I'll give it to Nick too. I don't know if people can click it on the podcast thing, but you can click and then go to a YouTube thing that has 50 minutes of audio. I took the best 17 minutes. Not necessarily the best. There's a lot of call-ins that I didn't add because I'm like, some of these call-ins are going to kind of give it, but that's the one thing I don't think any of our stories has. This is actual live commentary of this as it was going on.
Now I'm kind of understanding why you said the narration is pretty long. I guess it would have to be.
Yeah, because obviously the narration that we have is also going to break down the story as we go. I will also tell everyone I'm a little disappointed. I reached out to the dispatcher that handled the vast majority of these calls, as well as the police officer, one of the police officers that's going to be in our story today. Neither one of them contacted me back.
Oh, maybe later.
But
maybe
if they do, I would love to get them back on. This is you're going to hear both of their voices tonight in these audio clips. But this story is amazing. Now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight before we jump into everything, so you have an idea. Again, this happened December 14th of 1994. The weather was not great, not horrible. There was not a cloud in the sky.
Right.
So it was a very starry night. You could see all the stars pretty clear. Again, Trumbull County, Ohio. The amazing thing is, and you're going to hear this in the next section because that's kind of where we start out with the first initial calls. Actually, we start out with call number 2 that goes into dispatch. But everything you're going to hear is coming directly from the police department and then the police officers in the field. It was all recorded.
Giving me anxiety and heart palpitations. So I'm worried I'm going to get it too into this and I'll start getting nervous.
This is I think this might be one of the coolest UFO documented accounts that I've ever seen. I didn't understand there was so much to this until I started researching it. Do you want to hear the very beginning audio clips of what they went through?
I do. I'm afraid, but I do.
The calls started rolling into 911 operator Roy Ann Rudolph. Residents reported seeing a strange, brightly lit object hovering in the sky.
County Dispatch, may I help you?
Yeah, did you get any reports of any object in the air about 15 minutes ago?
Somebody called in, but I really don't know what that would be.
Yeah, I mean, it was very strange.
Okay.
Looked like a back end of like one of them fighter planes, like the plane coming out the back.
Okay. Was it just like moving at a slow rate of speed?
It wasn't a slow rate, it was a fast rate, but it was coming down.
It was coming down?
Yeah.
Like straight down or at an angle?
Like an angle.
At an angle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't real big in the back.
Okay.
Plane.
All right. I'll tell you what, we'll check with the Air Base in Vienna and see if they have any report of anything in the area.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Roy Ann Rudolph fielded these calls with growing curiosity and skepticism. Initially thought to be a prank or a mistake, the volume and consistency of the reports soon painted a different picture. From lights that danced in the night to silent, mysterious crafts, the community's eyes were turned upwards.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I can tell this is going to be something.
This is pretty cool. So, and that was the second call that actually came in. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going on, because I've heard some podcasts on this, none of them covered, because when I was creating mine, I always create mine first, and then I kind of go around. I see, is there something I missed that another podcast covered? I was honestly surprised. Not a lot of podcasts on this.
Yeah, we seem to find that on other episodes that we've done, that everyone does sort of the same story, but then there's other parts that seem to get left out, even when they're really good.
Yes, agreed. Now, there was one podcast that did it okay. They used some of the audio files that I'm using. They use some different audio files. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Everyone, each their own. But
Right.
He left out one big thing that I found in the research. They're getting these calls on December 14th. On December 13th, they also got calls about an unidentified flying object.
So this was a multiple night event then.
The police went out, couldn't find anything. It was like, these are just people that think they see something. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people will take into account, because it's 2024 and the younger crowd that's going to potentially be listening to this. Back in this day, people had scanners.
Right.
And it was a hobby for people to listen to the police scanner.
And now
So-
we didn't do that, but I know people who did, and that was like their, gather around the scanner at night, like the next iteration of radio stories or something.
Correct. We had them when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we would sometimes listen. My grandparents and my uncles were all into it.
Oh really?
It's like one of their favorite things to do. Yeah, big time into it. Like they had the code sheets, like when they would be like, that's a 1027 or whatever. And they knew exactly what it was.
Oh, you guys are nosy.
Yeah, we want to know what's going on, brother.
I guess so. Yeah.
But it's amazing to me because to understand this story, you have to understand people would listen to these scanners. So there's going to be sections of the story where you're going to hear the police be very skeptical. And it's because they're thinking other people's just listening to this on the scanner and then calling in to say that they saw something.
Right. Right.
So they're not taking a lot of this as the gospel in the beginning.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's definitely something that probably happened from time to time.
Correct.
Like
yeah.
people want to
In
get
fact,
in
that's
on
what they
it
thought.
kind of thing.
That's what they thought happened on night one.
Right.
They're like, one person called in. We talked about it on air. Now other people's calling in saying they saw it. But the difference is on this night, their phones started lighting up time after time after time after time after time. They took a lot of calls in a very short time period. Now, the call that you heard, the interesting thing about this guy is he said, is there anything in the sky that, and it's kind of hard to hear, that's why I'm making sure everyone understands what he said.
Yeah.
He said he thought it was maybe an aircraft that had like those air jets or like jet fighters have that fire that comes out the back. He's like, that's what I think I saw.
Yeah.
And the dispatcher, her name was Roy Ann. She, and I love her. She's one of my favorite people in this entire thing. Her personality's just killer. I would have loved to talk to this lady.
Yeah.
But
she's real calm. And respectful.
Wait till you hear her later.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super, super respectful. But later on, she's fun. She's got a fun personality. But she's basically like, we don't really have a report. You're the second call. I'm going to check because there is military exercises that will occasionally happen.
Right.
And so first thing she's going to do is she's going to call out to her deputies that's out in the field. And the other thing that's interesting about this is even though we're talking about this department, you're going to hear multiple departments talking to each other over these lines. So this isn't just one precinct. This is going to be multiple that's talking to each other, trying to figure out what the other one's seeing.
Something that struck me about the call too is the guy was not trying to lead it to any particular conclusion. This guy seemed really straightforward. He's like, what's going up on the sky. He's not trying to tell them what it is. He's trying to get them to tell him what it is. So I didn't really sense any ulterior motives or anything like that. He just wanted to know what the heck was going on.
Correct. And the other thing he mentioned was there was some intense light that was coming from it. But he almost looked at it from like an aircraft perspective. He's like, there's, I believe, a flame coming out of the back of it.
Yeah, but it's going downwards.
Yes. Now, what I think is he misinterpreted what he saw a little bit, and we're going to figure that out a little bit later.
Right. Okay. I'm hooked so far.
It's good so far. To keep this thing moving, what I'd like to do is go to the next segment now to give you a little bit of an idea. The calls are going to start persisting.
Okay.
Like I said. So the calls are still rolling in. There's obviously skepticism, and they're going to start talking to the police now.
Right.
Or should I say the officers out in the field. Check this out and tell me what you think of this.
The night's tranquility was soon interrupted by the dispatcher, Roy Ann Rudolph, relaying the unusual sightings to the officers on duty.
County Dispatch.
Okay.
Bob, I swear to God, 4 calls in on an unidentified object over Liberty.
4 calls.
4 calls on an unidentified flying object.
Why not take a look? All right, let's check it out.
You want me to call the air base and see if there's anything in the area?
I'll take a look.
I swear to God. You want to hear the call?
Come out there and coach you.
You want to hear the call? Wait a minute, I'm going to let you hear the call because you think I'm lying.
I believe you.
No, I swear to God, listen. I swear to God, this is our 4th or 5th call on it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Skepticism was the initial response. The idea of an alien craft seemed far-fetched to the seasoned officers.
This is Stacy from 33. Hi, Stacy. How are you? I got one of your... Did you really? This woman was almost... Sorry. She saw something. She told me that the area was like Sampson Drive. There's a vacant field midway through the block. They're telling me this too, but it's probably some weather balloon or something. You know what I mean? They're checking the area, but these UFO calls are getting out of hand. We're telling everybody they're doing the sequel to what's that new Star Trek movie, Generations? Bluish green, no noise. It was low flying and took off. Oh, come on. Fifth Avenue. Are you serious? It's driving up Fifth Avenue Extension. Now, oh, Christ. Not driving. You're flying. It came down and just zooped over. It was a big, glowing object. I dispatched it because God only knows my luck. It would land here, abduct some people, and I would be in trouble for not dispatching. I was impressed because I heard the way you dispatched it, and I said she's trying real hard not to break. And I'm working with the biggest jokers on the force tonight, so it's real hard not to. Lucky. Well, if we do run into a UFO, I swear I will call you personally. Okay? We'll give you an exclusive. Okay. Bye-bye.
Tasked with investigating these claims, they ventured into the night, their disbelief a shield against the unknown. Little did they know, their skepticism would be challenged by what awaited them in the dark, silent skies above Trumbull County.
Oh yeah, I love this lady.
That woman, let me tell you, she made this entire audio clip for me because as I'm listening to her, I'm like, she doesn't believe any of this in the beginning.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she sees the police officers out as being the practical jokers out in the field. So she's like, I'm not going to believe anything they tell me anyway.
Yeah. but she's like, just in case they come and abduct people, I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm going to report on it anyway.
That's the best part. That's the best part. She has such a great personality. Now, the amazing thing is here, we heard Bob talk to her first. You could hear the skepticism in his voice because they technically already dealt with this the night before.
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah, there's UFOs out there. Got it. Okay. And she's like, I swear, this is the fourth call. I will play it for you. And he's like, nah, listen, I don't need to hear 4 different people. Yeah, exactly. he didn't want to deal with it. But you could hear their skepticism. Like neither one of them at this point believe it.
I wonder if they sent anyone out the night before, or maybe they didn't get enough the night. Oh, they did.
They could not find anything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they're thinking, okay, night 2, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be anything out there. Now, as far as all of this, you could hear Bob was willing to go and check it out, but he's not going to assume that he's going to find anything.
Right. And kind of in that situation, rightly so. Like, right. I probably wouldn't think it either. If I was a cop, I'd be like, and 2 nights in a row, they're sending us to this opposite end of town. I bet they're robbing a store on the other end or something like that.
Something's going on.
Distracting me here.
Correct. Now, they talked about 4 to 5 calls when she was talking to the other woman, right?
Right.
That's just the start. I believe when it was all said and done, there was 17 total calls.
Right. Was that a reporter that she was talking to?
That was, I believe, the lady at the other precinct.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because as you could hear, she was like, when I heard you dispatch the cops, I could tell, or the police, I could tell that you were trying to hold back. Like you wasn't trying to crack on that.
Yeah.
But there was a ton of skepticism in all of this.
You know what?
And again, rightfully so.
Yeah. You know what I'm paying attention for? Is as this goes along, I'm waiting to see if their voices change. And that I would find that very unnerving if that's what goes down.
We'll have to see, Nick.
Yeah, we will see.
Now, obviously, Roy Ann has a very important job because she's now the middleman. She's handling the incoming calls. She's going to dispatch the police officers. So she's talking back and forth. She already has the assumption that these, like I say, the police out in the field, they're practical jokers. They're probably going to, lead her astray, kind of give her a tough time.
Right.
And if you think about it, when you're in that role and that's the idea that you have, it would be really hard to take anything seriously, especially when you dealt with it the night before. Now, she did not deal with it the night before. She just heard about it on the night before.
Was it someone else working the night before probably or something?
That'd be my guess. Nowhere did I ever find out who that was, but yeah, based on everything I heard, because it was a guy that was talking about, he's like, and I think this is in the audio files. I can't remember what I cut and what I didn't cut, but he was like, we just dealt with all this yesterday and we came up with nothing. So my guess is he worked dispatch or he was the police officer that was on duty.
She's probably thinking it's a setup. Like they did this, they didn't really have this night before. They just told her about it during the day and now it's happening again.
Correct. Correct. If you're her, because think about it. She already sounds like she has a fun personality. So she's had fun with these cops before. Like there's that banter. Like they would be the one that would be like, hey, Roy Ann, did you hear knocking outside? I think Bigfoot's outside the door. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what it sounds like to me. Their personality. That's the impression they give me.
Yeah, they've probably been working together a long time. So.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. So it kind of gives an idea of what's happening.
Right.
At least inside the building. Now, she dispatched the cops out. Now, Bob's going out. Now, Bob's not the only one that's going to go out. There's already some that's already in the field.
Right.
And I think at first, no one really wanted to go to this thing. It's just a nuisance at this point because they're like, I really don't want to deal with this. Bob, unfortunately, has to go. But there's other officers that's kind of near the area already. So, of course, they're going to be curious. They're going to glance around.
Yeah.
I want you to hear the next audio file because now we're going to start hearing from the police out in the field. So we heard inside the building. Now I kind of want you to hear what's happening, at least in the beginning, out in the field.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend I'm on a ride along with the cops here. I want to hear what's going on.
You are on a ride along.
I'm on a ride along.
As officers navigated the dark roads toward the reported locations, skepticism clouded their judgment.
998 radio. 998, good.
Yeah, CC stopped me, said it appeared to be hovering about 50 feet off the ground, heading towards Bottom Hutch, and I'm going to be checking that area. It's supposed to be a large object with a lot of lights on it.
Sir, I have another report on Sampson Drive, and also we've been advised by caller to the media. Media informed us it was a blue-green object hovering, no noise. It was in the area of Fifth Avenue Extension.
I'll go that. That Fifth Avenue Extension just came in.
This is just in now.
However, as they drew nearer, skepticism gave way to astonishment.
98.
And then he got
I see some lights. It's over 1 block from me. I'm going to try to get over there. I got to go down the street here. It's a large object, whatever it is.
996, are you in the area? 925, do you want to head over to that area?
Traffic.
Repeat your traffic.
Copy, I'm in route. Where do you see that, Toby? I just got a glimpse of it. I could see, I'm on Sampson right now. I could see it heading by Fifth Avenue on the other side. I could see some lights up in that area. All right, 925 and 998. Should I set my phaser for stun? Yeah, go ahead and do that. 96 on Fifth Avenue.
96, can you repeat your traffic?
Area Fifth Avenue Extension.
The area Fifth Avenue Extension.
Fifth Avenue.
996, you advise that you don't see anything?
I could see it was like a red pulsating light.
Okay, radio was advised to be blue and green.
I saw it was red. It was like a pulsating light. It looked like it was like to the bottom of an airplane, but it was real big.
Okay, we're trying to contact the airbase this time. Stand by.
If there's a number for the tower.
Copy.
Maybe it's a flying Christmas. Yeah, I'm seeing it as 8 tiny ring gear.
8 tiny green men.
Yeah, no more calls on this.
Last one in was when I advised last.
What they encountered was unlike any aircraft known to them. It wasn't a plane or a simple trick of light. The object, with its unconventional appearance and movements, challenged their understanding of the skies they patrolled. This unexpected encounter shifted their perspective from disbelief to a profound acknowledgement of the unidentified flying object's reality.
They're starting to see it now, like a couple of them, right?
They're seeing it from a distance.
Right. And
So they're driving these streets.
Yeah.
And this is a residential area. So there's trees.
Mm-hmm.
So through the trees and stuff, they're seeing the lights. But it's still far enough away that they're trying to intersect. If you listen, that was like 4 different officers that was trying to triangulate.
Yeah, they're trying to converge on the area kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. But so some of them are saying, I'm just seeing a red pulsing light. So they're kind of getting different views of it from what other people have reported.
What Roy Ann said was that one of the callers had already called the media.
Right.
So now the media is involved also. And what she said was the person that went to media said that it was a violet or a purple light, or like an infrared kind of light.
Okay.
And the officer's like, that's not what I saw. I saw red.
Yeah. And I think someone else in there said there was like a blue and red or something like that. Or one of the reports had said that, I think.
Yes. So right now, there's a little bit of a disagreement's the best way I'll put it, of what they're seeing, but they're seeing something.
Yeah. There's some lights in the sky of varying colors. That's a fact. And no little green men yet.
Now, the other big thing, no little green men yet. Roy Ann, I'm sorry. The green men's is not out there yet. Now, one of the things that I thought was interesting is they had mentioned it was seen at about 50 feet off of the ground.
Right.
So
Which is
now
really not that high.
Feet, it's not that high.
Yeah. So when they get closer, they're going to get a good view.
If they get closer. Because again, it's going through residential properties. It doesn't have roads to continue.
Right. So they probably can't follow it. To some degree, they can't follow it, really.
Yeah, I mean, once it gets out of residential properties, it'd be impossible to follow.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, it's 50 feet off the ground. So again, we're talking about they're going through residentials. There's trees, there's houses, there's buildings. From a distance, they're seeing there's a light. One officer saw it as red, and he said it's something big.
Yeah, red pulsing light.
Red pulsing light. Yes.
Which is kind of like, we always get that from our other stories too. It's a pulsing light or it's a roiling light. It's not just a solid light we see most of the time.
Correct. Now, another thing that was mentioned, and this is from everyone that's called in so far, some of the audio files that I did not include also mentioned this, and a police officer, when they talked to the media, or Roy Ann, when she talked to the media, everyone's saying there's no sound.
Right.
So this thing is 50 feet off the ground, no noise, and it's got bright lights.
Yeah, you can hear commercial airplane noises, like, and they're way higher up than that. So this is very unusual. The no sound thing is almost more scary to me than if it had a sound. Like, this thing could sneak up on you.
Absolutely. Think about it. Of all the things that could be in the air, there's a very limited amount of things. It could either be a plane,
right?
Helicopter, weather balloon.
Yeah.
But again, it's only 50 feet off the ground. So an airplane, highly, highly unlikely.
You know what they say a lot of times? Ball lightning, but it's usually not that high. So
correct.
But that stuff's crazy
too. It is very crazy.
Mm.
I've seen one video of ball lightning in my life, and it was on the YouTube machine, and I was fascinated by it.
I've seen quite a few because I searched it out. But I've heard stories, they'll like stop in front of windows almost like they're looking in, and like change directions. It's that stuff's scary. Plus it'll real hurt you if you get too close to it, I imagine. Yeah.
Oh, you'd be dead.
Oh yeah, that stuff's real dangerous.
You're gonna be gone. So if you think about this, and again, this is 1994, so technology was not necessarily where it is today, and I feel like things are quieter and easier, to fool people with. This best case scenario, if I was on the outside looking in and I did not think it was a UFO, the first thing I would think is some type of balloon.
Right. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Whether it be a hot air balloon, weather balloon, because think about a hot air balloon, that would be relatively big. It would be slower moving. You could potentially put spotlights on it. Now the question would be, why are they doing this at nighttime? This is happening at 11 o'clock.
They typically don't. That's real dangerous for a hot air balloon.
And they're going to mention this in the next clip, because the next clip they call the Air Traffic Control Center to see if they can look on radar, and see if they can find it on radar.
I bet they won't. That's what I'm betting. Putting my coins down on the table. Won't detect.
Seeking a rational explanation, the dispatch reached out to the Air Traffic Control Center, hoping to confirm the presence of known aircraft on radar that could account for the sightings. This step was grounded in the hope of finding a logical answer to the night's mysteries. However, the conversation between dispatch and air traffic control unveiled a perplexing reality.
Yes, sir. This is Ryan from Liberty Township Police Department in Youngstown, Ohio. We have a report of some flying object in our jurisdiction, in our area, above the Sampson Drive 5th Avenue extension area. I could not give you any kind of traffic, direction that would help you know that area. Do you know of anything that should be in our airspace this time, close to the ground? This is not a prank phone call, I swear. You can call me back to verify.
Look at the radar scope, and I go 60-mile diameter of Youngstown, and there is nothing out there. Not even anything up high.
We've got five accounts, 5 calls in on this. Something's flying in our area and it's low to the ground. Would you be able to monitor like a Cessna or something with a light on it?
Well, if it was, do you mean visibly?
No, with the radar.
With the radar, it depends on how high it is and where they are. If it's low radar coverage, so there isn't any.
Okay, now I have to go over here and tell them something, and I don't want to say you couldn't find anything. Is there any clause I might use that it might be like a personal aircraft or something that might be used at night or something?
Could be, it could be anything.
I thought I'd pass along in case somebody was maybe flying without permission and, night flying or something like that. I didn't know what was going on, but as long as I've done my job passing it along, and I don't want to sound like a crackpot, but that's what we've got in so far. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
There was nothing unusual detected on radar, no aircraft where there shouldn't be, leaving both parties grappling with the unexplained nature of what was being witnessed on the ground.
Won my money back.
Well, I mean, think about it. Think about it logically.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it was 50 feet off the ground. Now, you've got a drone, right?
Right.
We both have drones.
Mm-hmm.
When does it start picking up on radar? Do you know?
What was it? I don't know. My brother's actually got it. I don't have the drone. But
oh, gotcha.
yeah. So I don't know.
It's 400 feet.
Okay.
So when you hit 400 feet with these little drones,
Mm-hmm.
radar can pick it up.
But also, you can hear them quite far away. I find, anyway.
The drones?
Yeah.
Usually, if I get my drone above 150 feet, I don't hear it.
Yeah. But that's 150 feet. That's not 50 feet. And this object
Right.
is many
At 50
times larger.
Oh, yeah. At 50 feet, you're going to hear it.
Yeah.
And this is 1994.
Yeah. And they're saying they couldn't detect like a Cessna if it was too low. Well, I can tell you there's a plane, a small plane that flies almost every night around town here. And I can hear that wherever it is in town.
Oh, yeah. And that's now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's completely silent.
Right.
So that's why I lean back towards, if it was anything,
Mm-hmm.
again, being completely skeptical, not a UFO,
Yeah.
it would be a hot air balloon,
Right.
a weather balloon. Like, that's the only logical thing it could be
Yeah.
that I can think of.
Yeah, I feel like at 50 feet, they'd really probably be able to tell if it was a hot air balloon too. Not to mention on a hot air balloon, like the fuel source isn't constantly going on those either. So,
Right.
although it could be pulsing when it is going, but it wouldn't be constant.
Right.
So,
But it would be feasible.
right. Yeah, it's feasible. It's feasible.
It's possible. Like,
Right.
you know, when you're going to,
Right.
and then it goes up.
Yeah.
That would look like pulsing red light. And they're talking
would.
about red.
But you can hear that quite far away too.
You can. It's not
So,
quiet.
Yeah.
But it's the quietest thing that I can
Right.
think of
A Zeppelin.
to where this could be. Yes.
Right. Fun fact I only learned recently, the town that I'm in right now, back before the World Wars, was the largest Zeppelin manufacturing and testing plant in North America.
What?
Yeah. Had no idea. Had no idea.
I wouldn't have assumed that either. That would have been
No.
something that I would have thought.
I just imagine like at one point there was Zeppelins all over the sky here. I didn't believe the guy who told
for
me
sure.
until I looked into the history, and it actually was. You can go up and see the ruins of the abandoned factories and stuff up there. It's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
So it could be a Zeppelin, but I think they're
Could
pretty
be.
silent. But I doubt it's a Zeppelin.
Probably not.
Probably
in
not.
In fact, here I think in the next audio that we're going to listen to, we're going to talk about size. We're not ready to go there yet.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to talk about some size in the next one. That's how we're going to call this.
Yeah. Next part is called Size Matters.
It does. Now, something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They call air traffic control. So their initial call to them, they had not been reported anything.
No. I don't feel
So
like the
you've
average
got
citizen contacts them anyway.
No, but what I mean is no other precinct
Right.
had contacted them first, because they probably would have said something.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to that, typically, if that would have happened, I would assume they would probably contact the military base also and be like, hey, are you guys doing special operations? Or
Right.
the military would have let them know in advance to disregard anything. We're doing our things.
Yeah.
They
for
acted
sure.
like they had no clue what's going on.
Yeah. And if they were doing it in the local area, they usually announce it first so they don't end up in these situations.
unless it's like a secret kind of deal.
Yeah, but I feel that's not the place to be doing those secret kind of deals. Like this seems too public, right? Now, middle of the desert is something different.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that I think gives it away is they call air traffic control. If they knew about something up front,
right,
they'd have been like, we'll check into it. We'll let you know. He's like, let me pull up the radar. I'm going to go 60 miles out from Youngstown. I don't think he would have got that descriptive on something.
Yeah,
like
I probably wouldn't have bothered if he knew
probably
something.
Would not have bothered.
Yeah, or he'd have already done it.
Correct. Because that's being, in my opinion, extra.
Right.
We'll put it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go into that. But he extended out 60 miles from Youngstown. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing on the radar at all. Now, again, there's limitation to radar technology, especially in 1994.
Yeah.
Our technology has gotten better, but not significantly better.
Right. It's not that long ago.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain, it's 30 years almost.
Right.
But when you think about it, back then, there were certain things that made it very complicated for some radar to see. So it's going to depend on the size,
right,
the altitude, or if there's stealth technology. This, according to what we hear, has size. So the way everyone, I'm assuming, understands how a radar works. The reason that you generally have to be so far up, in this case, now with technology, about 400 foot. I don't know what it would have been back then, but if it's a big thing, you probably don't need to be up 400 foot.
Right.
Because it's that ping is going to come off of it.
Yeah.
So if this is significantly large and everyone's saying it looks relatively big, they probably should still see something on the radar.
Yeah, I think the larger it is, the less height or altitude it would need to be detected. Because I think when it's too close to the ground, you get interference with ground objects.
Correct. Yes. Correct. And if you think about it, like nowadays, the drones that we have is less than 1 pound. You can go up to 400 feet. At 401, you're on radar. Technically, at 400, you're on radar.
Yeah.
So back then, not the same technology, but if this is as large as a hot air balloon, I don't know.
I'm imagining much bigger.
You're thinking much bigger.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because if you think about it, the police officers, they're seeing it through the tree lines and through all that. They can see something. It's big enough for them to see something.
Yeah.
They can tell it's big.
And they can see approaching it from different angles, so it can't be tiny.
Correct. Correct. Now, the next section kind of goes into what I call a more interesting part of the story.
Well, I find this all interesting, so I don't know what this could be.
It adds to the story.
Okay.
In a tense exchange, an officer described witnessing an object lingering in the sky, eluding identification for an astonishing 10 minutes. Positioned just beyond clear visibility, the object captivated with its mysterious dance of colors, transitioning seamlessly from white to red to green.
County Dispatch, may I help you?
Yeah, it's Alan 433.
Hey, 433.
How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Liberty was spotting earlier.
Oh, cut it out.
No, I'm serious. We've been watching it for about 10 minutes now.
Hey,
Mikey, do you got a copy or see it? Yeah, that thing has not moved in 10 minutes that I've been watching it. Come up on Henhide and start south off of Kings Grave if you're on Henhide. Come on down, you'll see me parked. I've been watching this thing through my binoculars. I can't quite make it out. It changes colors from white to red to green. Those are colors of planes, but the sucker has not moved. It hasn't gone any direction since I've been watching it. It's a good 10 minutes. Couldn't believe it. I was just putting by my house, and I looked over, laughingly thinking, because we had one 2 weeks ago. And I looked over, and I said, oh, here's a plane coming in to land, because I'm used to seeing those. This thing has not moved moved in 10 minutes. And it's too bright and too low, and it changes colors to be a star.
It's an alien that came down to steal all our Christmas presents.
Yeah, I would. Mikey's up here with me now. He's looking through the binocs. It looks like it might have moved just slightly because it moved from one side of a tree to another, but it's still visible right here where we're at.
So over around 11. Around 11.
You say you're at Ridge at the air base? Okay, it should be south of you, right?
Yeah.
Looks like it's doing circles. Look like it's doing circles? Yeah. But it isn't moving.
What area is it in?
Huh?
What area?
Hang on one sec. Davey, so what area do you think it's in now? Hang on to that. Okay, where you're at and where I'm at, I'm about half a mile south of Kings Grave on Henhide.
Telling you, we went outside, we didn't see anything.
Yeah, what?
I'm calling the air base again.
I'd gladly come down, pick you up in the car, and bring you.
I want to see it. Come get me.
All right.
Come get me.
All right.
I'll be outside.
Okay.
All right. I need a break.
Toby, with 8 years on the force, ventured out expecting to debunk the UFO reports, perhaps attributing them to a low-flying aircraft. His skepticism was challenged when his patrol car and radio ceased functioning as an overwhelming bright light engulfed him. This intense light, which he had to shield his eyes from, was unlike anything he had encountered, silent yet imposing, and significantly large. This inexplicable encounter, where his vehicle's power was mysteriously restored as the object moved away, left Toby in awe, transforming his skepticism into a profound encounter with the unknown.
Oh, it's deepening here. They're calling people in to see this now.
Yes.
No one's scared yet, though. They're more fascinated. I'd be nervous.
So the very end of this thing told the story about Toby. That's one of the guys that I reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
So Toby and I forget what the other guy's name. They're at a can't make this up, and I apologize. This is not a joke. They were at a donut shop.
Oh, okay. No, guys, you can't be caught there.
I know. Like that. But they're at this donut shop and they get the call from Roy Ann. Roy Ann's like, hey, we're getting reports like crazy on whatever this is. Toby's like, we'll go out, I'll see. They both got their patrol cars. The other guy stays put. Toby starts heading out. So he's driving along. He doesn't see anything. And all of a sudden, his car turns off.
This is classic.
His radio goes dead. Yes. His radio goes dead. And his car slowly goes to a complete stop. He gets out and he says the light's so bright he has to cover his eyes from looking up at this light.
Wow.
He can make it out. It's a red glow. So he can see that it's obviously, red for him. He says that it's there for about 2 to 3 minutes, just fixated on him.
Right.
And then it just slowly goes away. Once it gets so far out,
everything's back.
Everything, his radio kicks back on and everything.
Yep. That's so classic for this kind of thing. So did he?
Now the other.
Sorry, just quickly, did he get the impression that it was focused on him?
The way he said it was the light was on him.
Right. Okay.
But it was so intense. Now, the way he described it is, it was like being outside when the sun was out. It was so bright.
Wow. That's crazy. That's wild.
Now, the other interesting thing is, as you can hear, they're talking back and forth with dispatch. He disappeared off the radio waves for that length of time.
Right.
And they started freaking out. They're like, where's Toby? What happened to Toby?
Right.
He couldn't communicate with them until it got far enough away to where all of his stuff started working again.
Now they've got to be getting real, like, what the heck is going on here?
Correct.
Were they joking? Were they going to go pick up Roylene?
Oh, yeah. Roy Ann. They was going to go pick her up.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was a joke or serious. They was going to go pick her up. No,
because she was like, I don't believe what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't. Because what happened was the station that they're at was relatively close enough to where if the light was bright enough, she should be able to see it.
Yeah, because she went out to look.
She and someone else went outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, could not see anything.
Right.
So she's talking to these police officers. They're talking. She probably still thinks they're doing a practical joke.
Yeah.
She's like, these jokers, like, I'm not going to fall for this. Like, I'm not dumb. You know, you can't fool me because, again, if it's me, it's almost Christmas time. Let's have a little, because they keep referring to this. Now they're referring to it like the Grinch. It came down to get our presents.
Yeah, I heard that part. That was funny too.
So, I mean, again, it's very different than what I think they anticipated in the beginning. But now the police officers are out and they're like, no, this is like legit. Like, this is legit. Like, we see this. It's here.
You know, I can't stop thinking what a crazy killer good movie this would make. You know, like the building suspense, the mystery. Maybe it all focuses like it's one of those movies that just takes place in Roy Ann's little cubicle and she's getting reports like, man, that'd be so good. I'd watch the heck out of that.
It would be good.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. This story is such a good story. There's not a lot on it.
Yeah. I can't believe I haven't heard this before. And I know I haven't. Not a part of this is familiar.
And the sad part is it's so well documented with these audio files. There's 50 minutes of audio files. I only gave you guys 16 of the 50 minutes.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, this is so good. I'm really enjoying this. It's really building a story for me. And it's my heart, it's just a pitter patter, and I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This was great. Like, I knew this story. I knew about this.
Right.
And I remember it happening. I was still in high school when this happened.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think I was like a freshman. Let me see. I graduated in 97. So yeah, I would have been a freshman.
Did you hear about it as it was going on or much after or?
I heard about it when I was in school because it was like, hey, they found a UFO in Youngstown. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then that's all that it really was. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, we have a UFO story. We have a lot of stuff in Ohio. Ohio is considered one of the most haunted states. We had this UFO case. We've got werewolf cases. There was a vampire story also in Ohio.
Oh, got Twilight going on here.
We kind of got some Twilight action going on over here. So, you know, we've got all these different things going on.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew this, but I didn't understand because, again, this happened when I was a freshman in high school. So, even though it was cool, like, it wasn't something that where I'm like, okay, I'm going to dig into this much. It wasn't until I started digging in for this podcast that I was like, there's more to the story than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got a real cool thing in your own backyard here.
I do.
This is your Shag Harbor incident.
It is my Shag Harbor. See, you had something close to you, Nick. I've got something close to me.
Yeah. Not a coincidence. This is something that caused all this.
Not a coincidence. Correct. We've both been abducted, Nick.
Maybe. That's why we need those hypnotists we talked about before.
We need them doggone hypnotists to come on this podcast.
That's right. Deep dive into our scary minds.
That's a fact. But I thought it was interesting. They all go out. Now, the most credible case is obviously Toby's so far. His was the only car that was stopped in this entire thing.
Yeah.
Now, I did not add this audio file in because they talked on an external different radio that was not recorded.
Right, right.
There's some things they left off of this channel, and there's some things that he described it as being the size of one football field.
That's pretty darn big. That's what I was imagining at this point. Yeah.
100 yards.
Something like that, no matter how high it up, just couldn't be silent. It's definitely not a blimp. It's not a balloon.
No. Think about it. If it's 100 yards, it's what, 3 feet to a yard, right?
Yeah.
So that's 300 feet in circumference. He described it as a disc. A disc that would be 300 feet in diameter.
Just looking that up. Hold on 1 second.
I think it's 3 feet to a yard.
You are correct. I was just making sure because I know people would get on us about that if it wasn't.
They would too.
Yeah.
Just I talk to them about the moon. You'll figure out real quick when we're in that gray area. But so it's 300 foot around, and it's only 50 feet off the ground. So 50 feet off the ground, 300 feet across. So these lights are so bright, and it's dark. So think about it. It's dark outside. It's that big. It's going to be hard to see this. The only thing that's illuminated is underneath it.
I sure wouldn't want this thing passing over me just in case it broke down or something. That wouldn't be good.
Oh yeah. It would not be good.
No, but
it's fascinating to me. Oh yeah. I mean, this would be so scary. If you're Toby, I don't know how you don't freak out. I would have freaked out.
I bet he was. I bet he was a little bit.
I mean, if he wasn't, he's a doggone superstar.
If I was out on my own and my car died, I'd freak out anyway, even if I didn't see anything.
It's funny that you say that because we're going to hear someone freak out in the next segment.
Oh, now it's getting real. Now it's less of a novelty. This is going to be serious.
Yeah, this, I'm telling you, this is probably, once I did research, my favorite UFO story, just from the standpoint of I'm hearing people as they're progressing.
Right. It sounds very authentic.
Like their entire mindset.
From these voices. That's what I'm getting, authenticity from these voices.
I think it's this one or there's only 8 clips, so I think it's the next one.
Okay.
You're going to hear 2 officers arguing, one inside the building and one out in the field. And you can tell they're not about it. Like they're getting ticked off that no one's listening to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is taking we go from skepticism to there's something there. We don't know what it is to now someone's like, that was a circular UFO that just shut my cruiser off.
See, this is the progression I was afraid of, because this is where it starts to get scary. Like, this is how, and I know I'm going a little too far on this, but this is how an invasion would start.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, like it would start with a little joking, a little amusement, a little apprehension, then it's going to get fear and not good.
Like M. Night Shyamalan in the movie Signs.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about the escalation of that.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
It went to there's these things. I do too. Yeah. I want to watch that so bad. I just watched all of Stranger Things because of our podcast on shoot. Why can't I think of it?
The Stranger Things one, we'll call it.
Yeah, Montauk.
Yeah,
the Montauk Project. So now I need something else to watch. I need to go back and watch Signs.
Yeah. This isn't, well, I guess this is tangentially related to what we do, but you could watch Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
I don't know what that is.
It's all about how the effect of Godzilla's attack had on people. It's a TV show, and they're looking to find out where these things come from. Yeah, it's fun. It's not realistic, but it's fun.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this. I did find one, I don't know who it was, one company that did a reenactment of this exact. It was like a show from like 1990s.
Right.
The audio was bad. The acting was okay, but it had the original person. It had Royanne and it had Toby in their reenactment. They reenacted it.
Oh, that's cool.
For the show. Yeah, I'll send that to you guys. Maybe I'll put that in our description down below too. If you're not watching us on YouTube, that's where I put some of the good stuff.
Yeah, that's where the best stuff is.
It kind of
is. That's our big deal.
The pictures and stuff is usually there. But in the description on the YouTube machine, I will put those 2 videos. The one to the audio file for the police department, all 50 minutes of it. And then I'll also put whatever that channel is that had that show. That had like a cool narrator voice. But it was a cool reenactment. It dove into some stuff that actually I got one of the pieces of information for our podcast from that video. I went back and retyped something that I didn't know that I couldn't find.
Oh, okay.
And it was based on something that one of them said that I could not find in the audio files. I think it was on the alternate channel that wasn't recorded.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be good to have also.
I think it's in this. Yeah, 7 is kind of where we're getting into the nitty gritty, and then 8 just kind of closes it all out.
Okay.
So this is a one-parter. You guys are welcome.
Something's gonna happen. We're gonna talk for like another 2 hours on this somehow. We don't ever do single-parters anymore.
We don't. Listen, I wrote everything out so I'd stay focused.
You did.
We'll have more one-parters if I stay focused.
Yeah, we got laser focus this time. So this is a gift to all you people who don't want two-parters. I love them. I love two-parters.
This is doggone one-parter. I mean, listen, I enjoy them too because I get 3 hours of something versus an hour and a half.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Obviously, we must love them because that's all we put out except for this episode. So
I know this is one of those rare episodes where we did not.
From us to
you. Do you want to hear kind of? Yeah, it's a gift.
It's a gift.
Pre-Christmas.
There you go.
Do you want to hear one of the last audio segments that kind of breaks down? The best way I can put it is skepticism that gets annoyed as well as some other things seen by police.
Well, I might as well listen to more because I'm going to have nightmares tonight anyway. So let's go all in for a penny, in for a pound, right?
Radio communications were abuzz with officers reporting their encounters with the unidentifiable object, each account as bewildered as the last, offering no clear answers.
Because it's still south of me, southeast of Old 82. Okay. The bird's all over the tracks now. It's hovered now. I see it now too. Okay, Grady, it looks like it's flickering more now, and it looks like it's running a little east of me now. I'm heading east on Old 82 from the center. Okay, I got a pretty good view over here. Something flickering is maybe a couple trees or clouds from my location, but I'm running dead east on it, parallel at it, just slightly north of it. 10-4, we have multiple departments right now that have sightings on it. Okay, I got them both. I'm in the area of the county home. I got Howland, looks like it's in the area of Warren Road, and I got Liberties, it looks like it's down near Hubbard. 10-4, if you see it any closer and can identify it, let us know. Affirmative. Go ahead. It's in Brookfield now. 998 radio. 998. Okay, we could see it from 62. It's a large light. I don't know if it's changing color. I could see red in it. It just seems to be hovering right now. That's fine. I can see an upper structure off the main point of the lighting. Yeah, right. It almost looks like a little parachute hanging from it. Right, yeah, something with a different colored lighting to it.
Inside the police station, skepticism grew among those listening in.
I can see them from Warner Road. They're sitting stationary. I got 3 of them. One is over, there, and then there's 2 kind of close together.
What do they look like?
Well, I'd like to say that they're just like flickering stars, except I've got 4 discernible colors. I got red, yellow, green, and blue, and the one just was like flashing. So if they're those planets those guys were talking about, then they're planets with Christmas lights on.
You can see them?
I can see them. Not like clear as day. I don't see any wings or anything to see them.
But you see lights?
Yeah, wait a minute.
What?
Oh my God, I hope that's a plane. Oh, Jesus Christ, please be a plane. Oh, please.
What is it?
I ain't ready for this. Hold on. Little where'd you go? That's a plane. Oh, thank God. Well, I get nervous when they're coming right at me. There's 3 planes up there. I'll tell you what, they're flying from the Air Force Base.
Really?
Something's got to be.
Oh, really?
4 up there now. There's 4 planes.
Oh, okay.
What the? No, I mean, the other things are still there. But these are like, you don't see them. Who's ever like running the show out there? Who's like really into this?
No.
Maybe nobody is?
Who's ever running the show out here is like laughing at all you guys out there.
Well, that's because they're in a closed building and we're out here looking at this.
Okay.
But no, what I'm wondering is maybe somebody might want to give the National Weather people a call. Because they're not going to classify. They'll call and say, this is where we saw something. Like they did to us last year.
The disconnect between what was reported in the field and what seemed plausible from the safety of the station led to a mix of concern and disbelief, with some suggesting the officers might be mistaking ordinary celestial bodies for something far more mysterious.
And all joking around is over now.
Oh yeah,
there's
they're
not
starting to
any
get
jokes
ticked.
going in there. Yeah,
They're starting to get ticked. Now the
yeah,
amazing
it's
thing.
interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Air Force Base has sent out some planes at this point too.
Correct. That was one
Right,
of the
so
things I
that's-
was going to bring up.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Yeah, so they contacted obviously the air traffic control.
Mm-hmm.
And in the full audio clip, they're like, we can give you a number if you want to report this. And she's like, nah. Like Roy Ann's like, I'm not worried about it. It's, it is what it is. If you don't see it, you don't see it. But with that, they contacted him again and was like, hey, my police officers is seeing this. They're like,
a lot of them.
yeah. I mean, at this point, there was 17 total police officers in different jurisdictions that saw it.
Man, that's hard to get a lot of people to get in on a joke like that. It's
Correct. In addition to those 17 different police officers across multiple jurisdictions, the jail that was there, I don't know if it was a county jail or police, one of the two, they was listening. And one of the security guards called. I left this out of the audio file. And he's like, what are y'all looking for? Like a UFO or something? They're like, who is this? And he said, and he's like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? You can tell they was talking to each other at that point. He goes, yeah, like all these people start reporting. He's like, well, I'm going to go outside and see if I can see it. One of the police officers went over there, picked him up, and took him, and he also saw the UFO.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the guy who missed out on all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So you have 17 police officers that saw it. You have all these call-ins. You have, there was like two other people. I forget what their position was, but they wasn't quite affiliated, but they also saw it. Now, the other interesting thing is you have Toby that saw this UFO that went over the street, shut off his car, all that stuff happened. A little bit later, a different officer, there's a tower, one of those radio towers. He climbs up 3 stories, 30 feet, because he wanted to see if he could see it better from up there.
Yeah.
As you heard, the one police officer said, it looks like there's a parachute underneath it.
Yeah, what was that about?
It wasn't a parachute. It was 2 other smaller crafts.
Ah, okay.
So when he climbed that tower and then he used his binoculars, he could see 2 smaller ships underneath the bigger ship.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what the one saw and thought was a parachute wasn't a parachute. It was 2 other little ships.
And what are those little buggers out there doing? Abducting people, no doubt.
Probably so. That's Roy Ann's worst fear.
Yeah, stealing presents, abducting
accountable.
people. Yeah, and it ain't gonna be Roy Ann. She did her job.
She did her doggone job.
She said that a number of times. She did her job.
Did her doggone job. She even went out to go see him. She wanted to see what was happening.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So you have all that going on. So we have I mean, for lack of better terms, a UFO that is best estimation 100 yards in length, circular. Now you've got a police officer that says from the radio tower 30 or 3 stories up, so 30 feet roughly, there was 2 smaller ships underneath it. Now, who knows? Maybe this large ship had these 2 other ships inside of it.
Could very well be. I mean there could be little ships coming out from other sides of it that we don't even know about.
We don't even know about. That's the crazy part. So, I mean, how many times have you seen these cases where it's like a big ship or something like that, and then there's like these little ships that's almost underneath it? Sometimes I wonder, do they have it actually depart from the big ship, or does it just teleport like they do in some of the big movies, you know?
It's like a mothership. This is Independence Day. Is what this is. They are coming to attack.
It kind of is.
That would be my first impression. Because I'm suspicious of these guys, remember? Like, I'm attacking aliens in woods. I don't trust them.
You are.
You know, I'm going to fist fight them.
Well, the other thing that's crazy to me is they report all this stuff. Now there's all these like those fighter. I mean, I would assume they're like fighter jets. Now all of a sudden they're coming out. They're checking this thing out too.
They better not get too close. Maybe a fighter jet would turn off too.
You know, and that's what I'm always curious about. You always hear about the cars and stuff, but and even if you did, would that just be a cover up at that point?
Yeah. Well, maybe that could just be a crash that they can't explain, or I feel like I've heard stories where they're following them and their planes stall, but they can actually get them back before they have a serious accident. I feel like I've heard stories like that too.
It's very possible. I don't know. The whole thing's interesting though. From a when I look at the UFO cases I know, and I didn't understand the depth of this one, this was significantly different than the other ones we've heard because there's so many different people and they're all talking on the radio in conjunction and they're arguing
and they're
about
authorities.
what they're seeing. Yeah.
They're the authorities. They're not some random guy out making moonshine in his bathtub. Like these are police officers.
Correct.
Like that's wild.
The best part is they're arguing with each other. Like at the very end, it's like, well, yeah, it's because you guys are sitting inside this building. I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
I know
they got a little annoyed with him because he was being a little dismissive to him.
Correct. Oh, so you're seeing these then. Well, what's it look like?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, and like the guy said, well, anyone that's interested, no one's interested. What do you mean no one's interested? Like no one's interested in this? Well, they're out here. They're over here. The ones in here's laughing at you guys that's out in the field. And he got it like ticked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you're safe in there. Come out here and see it.
Correct. Correct. So
I'm sure Toby would have a thing or two to say.
Toby's like, let me tell you about these things.
Yeah.
I got Foo Fightered.
Yeah, you ruined my car for a bit.
Oh, man. That's the crazy part.
My electric coffee holder is busted.
Like when you think of UFO cases, this one for me, there's just too much to it to just say it's not legit.
Well, a lot of this is why they took the Shagara incident so seriously, because it was cops reporting this and they were writing police reports and all this kind of stuff. It's credible people who have been sworn to tell the truth by the government who are talking about this.
Exactly. That's the big thing, man. When you look at all of it and you try to make sense of it all, it's like, again, for me, UFOs is like the easiest one to prove. And even if you're like Elon Musk right now, I have heard things. Unfortunately, YouTube has figured out I'm really into this stuff. And it gives me videos sometimes where I'm like, man, I can't go down this path because if I do, it's a rabbit hole and I'm going to end up like being a Hellbot person or something. I'm going to be joining a cult or something soon.
Oh, no, I won't let you do that. Not any ones you're not already in. I can't retroactively do that, but no new cults.
Well, and that's the thing. Like they say, there's a guy, I forget what his name is, super interesting guy. And his theory is everything that we look at, like our cell phones and, all of this stuff, we are, according to him, 300 years in the past compared to what the government has because they've used alien technology to get where they're at now.
It's possible.
And then there's another guy. He goes down this path, man. It sounds legit like Star Wars to me. And I can't think of the guy's name, but he goes into this whole Anunnaki thing.
Oh, yeah.
And how...
That's interesting, but I think people are really getting out in the field with that. Like, I don't know. That might be a little far, but...
I would like to cover it on a podcast at some point.
I'm interested.
It's definitely interesting. Like the whole theory of, now the problem is, and the reason problem I haven't, is them religious folks, man. They're going to put a cross in my yard and try to hook me to it. I'm going to be hanging out in my yard like this going, I repent of my sins. I repent of my sins.
I didn't mean to say that. I swear.
I heard it somewhere, but you know, it goes into, instead of Adam and Eve going into, we was genetically mutated from alien civilizations that had been here millions of years before.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole Anunnaki thing was, we wasn't even supposed to be here. Like they came to our planet and basically planted us.
Yeah.
And then when you go look at those scrolls, the scrolls are basically like, they're saying if whoever it is finds out that we did this, we're going to be in trouble, basically. So
we're like those little seeds that get stuck to the underbelly of a car, and then they become an invasive species in another country or something like that, you know?
Well, they're one of the scientists that says something very interesting to me, and I hate to say it, it kind of follows in line with the whole Anunnaki thing. I don't know that I'm that far down the path, but it sounded really smart when he said it. So Caucasians, Asians, you know, whatever race you're looking at, do you know there's a DNA difference in us of 2%?
Oh yeah. That sounds like a lot.
Not based. Well, what they're saying is, let's use, for example, someone from like Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have the extra melatonin. That's how their skin gets darker. It's a 2% difference between them and Caucasians.
Okay.
But it's not based on the fact they're in Africa.
Right.
Has nothing to do with it.
Like in terms of DNA, 2% is a large amount.
Very large. And what they're saying is, and which again, this is crazy. I've not researched it. This is just what this scientist, YouTube scientist, let me rephrase it before someone corrects me in the comments down below. YouTube scientist was basically saying the reason that 2% difference was put there was as a branding.
On the record, skeptical.
Oh,
I would need to,
100%.
Yeah, I need sources for all this stuff.
but what he's saying is because the Anunnaki was enslaved. We were basically their slaves. So like a farmer would brand their cattle. Our brand is that 2% difference because they created us. So they said, these are my people. We're going to put them on this part of the continent. Here's our 2% DNA difference. That's why everyone looks so significantly different. They're like, you look at Caucasians, you look at Asians, significantly different in looks.
I've heard other reasons that that I would be more readily. I would be more ready to believe, I guess I'd say.
Oh,
because of
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I think because of the migration and adaptation as we moved could account for a lot of that. Like, I don't do very good in the heat, but in cold winters and caves, A1. So my people were from like Northern Ireland and stuff like that. So, you know, that's what I'd lean more towards. I'm not closed-minded to anything. I'd hear anything and find it interesting, but very skeptical on this.
Oh yeah, me too. 100%. I mean, listen, I'm the religious guy. I can't just go swinging with what they're selling. But it's an interesting.
Yeah, you got to watch your step extra.
I do got to be real careful, man.
Yeah, there's like people with little bow ties and white short sleeve shirts peeking in your windows with Bibles. They're like,
that's true.
What's he saying? What's he saying?
That's true. All of a sudden they come knock on my door, open door. They'll be like, "Is this you?
Yeah.
Is this you, sir? Is this you?" I'm
you know what happens next?
This Anunnaki talk's got to stop, sir.
Yeah. Next step is Kevin Sorbo puts a bag over your head and throws you in a van.
Oh, Kevin Sorbo. Hercules. What didn't he do?
That's right.
Was it Hercules?
Yeah, he was Hercules, but lately he's just been in religious movies, so
Kevin Sabo. That's a name from Christmas Past. Yeah. It is an interesting story, though. It makes for some fun sci-fi stuff.
I don't have to believe something to like it anyway.
No, for sure.
Like, you know, I love hearing wild stories because it's fascinating. It doesn't mean I have to believe it.
No. But that's what this whole channel's about. This is why we have so much fun. You know, we're talking about UFOs, what could potentially cause it. At the end of the day, it's all a story. We don't know if it's true. I mean, heck,
well, this one's true.
This one,
100%, I believe it.
If this one's not true, this is the most elaborate hoax I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
This ain't no Anunnakis here. This is the real deal.
For sure. Do you want to hear this last little segment? Just closes it down, Nick.
Yeah, let's hear it. I'm already gonna, like I said, I'm already gonna have nightmares. You may as well finish it off.
Just finish it off, boys.
As the mysterious lights of Trumbull County faded into the night, so too did the immediate frenzy. What remained was a community touched by the inexplicable, officers with stories they could scarcely believe, and a narrative that would echo in UFO lore for years to come. This incident, unresolved yet deeply etched in the memories of those who witnessed it, stands as a testament to the enduring mystery of the skies above us and our unending quest for understanding in a universe that remains largely a mystery.
Well, you were right. We know that this case is real. Like, no doubt in my mind. Like, I couldn't disagree with Rayanne and Toby. I believe in those. Royanne, darn it.
She's not going to come to our podcast. You keep calling her the wrong name, Nick.
Well, maybe she'll come on to correct me. She'll say you are doing it wrong.
She might. I looked, Royanne, I apologize. I looked you up on LinkedIn. It looks like you've been promoted from dispatch, so congratulations on that.
Oh, yeah, congrats.
She's still a part of the police force, though. Good job.
Yeah. Wow, it sounds like a fun job after listening to this episode.
Well, that's the thing. She didn't get in too much trouble. So that's what I was going for. That's good. They kept her.
Yeah. Well, she did her job perfectly. She, you know, she reported things whether she believed it or not. She called the right people, asked the right questions. You know, very good job.
I just want to talk to her because she sounds like she'd be so fun to talk to.
Oh, heck yeah. That'd be great. Sounds like someone you could have a real fun conversation with.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If she would have been on the podcast, we would have had a blast. And listen, if they contact us back, we'll revisit this. I have no issues revisiting this story.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to.
Because they would fill in parts of the... Listen, like I say, I use 16 minutes of a 50-minute audio clip.
Oh, you could go talk to them in person. You could ask them in person.
They're in a police station. I'm not trying to risk going to jail, Nick. Listen, I love our podcast.
Just commit a crime. You can get in there real easy.
Well, yeah, trust and believe. This face too pretty to go to jail, Nick. I get in trouble. Regardless of what the comments say.
Yeah, you gotta protect that. They don't know. This is what you do. You get a police uniform. I'll pretend I'm a crook that you're taking in. And then when we get on the inside, we're like, aha, gotcha. Come with us.
This sounds like Barney Fife and his cousin, whatever his name was, trying to trick someone into something. Hey, y'all get this stuff. Y'all gonna see this. Yeah,
I'm
this
a
story,
large Barney Fife.
Both of us is a large Barney Fife, let's be honest. This is one of those stories, though, that I think, of all the UFO stories we've covered, I've always listened to them and I said, this one person's perspective, I definitely believe it. But the fact that there's so many, so many.
It's like you said, I've never heard a better documented case in my life. Like, 50 minutes of this back and forth is just unheard of, really.
Correct.
If anyone knows a more documented case with more, recordings, I'd like to hear what it is, because we'll definitely cover that.
Correct. And again, people always say, well, why is there no pictures, no video? This is a prime example. This was 1994. All these people saw this stuff. And I'm sure the biggest question is everyone's going to say, well, where did the UFO go? It got out of the jurisdiction, and then that was the last that was heard of it. Now, again, they had those airplanes going out. So I'm curious if that scared whatever it was away, or not necessarily scared it, but it's like, we don't want this.
Yeah. And what more do they know about it that's probably classified, and
Oh, I'm sure.
we can't hear about it, because they definitely would have saw something
sure.
at that point.
Oh yeah, for 100%. They had to have.
Mhm.
I mean, if all these police officers saw it, you're telling me the people in a freaking aircraft cannot see it?
Yeah, they definitely
insane.
saw it.
Definitely saw it.
Yeah.
And they've got all that sophisticated, tech stuff inside their planes. So they probably had all kinds of, even in 94 they did.
Well, compared to like aliens, that's like saying a kid on a Fisher Price tricycle is sophisticated with its horn coming up to you, It's like
Right.
sophisticated
That's true.
for us, not for them.
Correct. Correct. It's definitely an interesting story, though. What did you guys think? Is this a story that you guys knew about? How many of my Ohio peeps that listen to me, I've already asked some of y'all, how many of y'all knew about this story? Be sure to tell me, because I want to know. And if you did know, what do you remember about it? It's hard to find stuff on it. This is, if I would have found that most of my story came from the audio file.
Right.
And honestly, I wouldn't have had it any other way because it's the most accurate.
This was a whole different experience. I really enjoyed this.
Oh,
this was a good
such
way of storytelling.
It was. Well, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Wherever you're listening to your podcast, please, if you could rate us. Also, understand when you rate us, wherever you're listening, that doesn't just help us to grow, which it does, but in addition to that, it helps other peeps find us, those that's interested in the kind of unsolved mysteries that we present. So definitely make sure that you rate us. Also, wherever you're listening to us, if you've not checked out our YouTube channel, check out our YouTube channel. Hit the doggone subscribe button over there. Here, sooner or later, we do have some shorts that pop up that is not inside of our videos. Might be something you might want to check out. So definitely check us out over there. But I think we pretty much closed this one all the way out. I think we hit all the major points, and we kept it in one episode because we love you guys.
Almost unheard of. This is our gift to you, like I said.
Because this was an 18-minute narration, 19 minutes, and we still kept it under one.
Yeah, that's normally a two-parter.
Yeah, I was structured on this, Nick.
He came with a plan.
Yeah. Listen, I only deviated once with the Anunnaki, which is still somewhat applied. But listen, I didn't go on no tangents.
That's right.
We're a doggone reputable podcast over here.
Heck yeah, every once in a while we throw in a one-parter.
We do. Well, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Until we see you on the until we see y'all on the next podcast. Goodbye.
That's normally me, by the way. Goodbye.